Good morning once again, and thank you for staying tuned to Sunrise at Sea right here on CTV. My name is Apollo Sarah, and welcome to the Twitter Jabs too. I'm joined by Aggie Uwase. Hi, Aggie.
Hi, Farah.
Well, today we were supposed to be joined by Mr. Frank Gashumba, and he wasn't able to come and join us in person. However, we'll be connecting with him via Zoom later on in this discussion. So today what we're discussing on the Twitter Jabs is politics of intolerance. And this is after Mr. Gashumba went trending on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, after he was called out, and I say that in quotes, after he attended General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's birthday party, 48th birthday party that was held at the Lugogo Cricket Oval. Well, a number of opposition supporters deemed him a traitor, called him a government spy, and he was not too happy about that. He later retaliated and said a number of things that even got them a lot more angry. Well, some of the accusations that he made, or rather comments that he made towards NUP, especially Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, is that he said that NUP is a project created by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and he said that they are being funded by the NRM government, and this is because they are being used as a tool to destabilize the opposition. Yes.
And by the way, you know, earlier talking about politics of intolerance, it does have its consequences. First of all, it creates separation, it creates misunderstanding and hostility between groups, just like we are seeing it manifest in regard to NUP, as well as, you know, Frank Gashumba's camp. I don't know, right now we do not know which camp exactly it is where he belongs, because he hasn't come on to say that I either support NRM. He has only talked about the only right opposition candidate in this country is Dr. Kizza Besigye.
No, you are saying the only right, he claims that the only
authentic, yes,
or rather more authentic opposition leader of the country is Dr. Kizza Besigye, and he says that he's the only one that holds true intentions, because again Mr. Frank Gashumba went on to say that it is wrong for Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi and his camp to say that Uganda is bleeding, and yet they constantly host parties and go on boat cruises. Now, to take you back to the beginning, you may be wondering, what is political intolerance, or rather politics of intolerance? So it is the unwillingness to accept views, beliefs or behavior that differ from one's own. And this can manifest in like what we are seeing here right now happening today.
And you know, there have been allegations that there's so much political intolerance, not only on the side of opposition, but on the side of government as well. And back in 2012, the Uganda's Deputy Justice and Constitutional Minister back in the day, and that was Frederick Ruhindi, did talk about that the government actually is not intolerant in any way. However, he said that when you are doing whatever you're doing, do it in such a way that you do not also infringe on the rights of others. That when it comes to you infringing on the rights of others, they will stop at nothing but to stop whatever it is that you are doing.
Well, a number of other rather social political activists or analysts or journalists and politicians have also come out to call out NUP and say that they are rather intolerant. This is had comments from Mr. Norbert Mao and also Andrew Mwenda, who have also now become public enemy #1 and have also gone ahead to face the wrath of supporters of the National Unity, you know, platform.
Yes, we saw back in the day when Andrew Mwenda, and that is a veteran journalist, talked about NUP is very intolerant and undemocratic. You know, while you talk about President Museveni being undemocratic, NUP is rather worse. And definitely NUP supporters did not let him get away with it.
And remember, of course not.
You remember when he talked about, I want to stand against Robert Kyagulanyi
in 2020,
the president of NUP, and they're like, you know what, come through. And we did see him get his membership card as well, and also sign the get the forms for to be a presidential candidate. And later on he talked, you know what I expected is not what I got when I got to the NUP offices. He expected that maybe he wouldn't return in one piece, but to his surprise he got the membership card, and you know, people were receptive. And I don't know whether he changed his whole view about NUP and you know what they stand for and what they always talk about, intolerance and all that. Because I mean, we did see democracy play out then.
No, well, he went on again to say that after he received his membership card, that was back in 2020, he insisted that, and he said, and I quote, "I noticed that many assume that Bobi Wine is the sole presidential candidate by anointment, and that also must be rejected." So he's for, like, these parties should be for everybody. It's people power, you know, our power. Yes. So everybody should have a chance, and it shouldn't be like a dictatorship where it is just one person ruling the party.
Absolutely. Yes. And then also we see the Democratic Party president, and that is Norbert Mao, saying that he's considering leaving Uganda in case his rivals in the National Unity Platform Party ascend to the top seat of the position of presidency. Now, he did say this while appearing for an interview, and he also pointed up at the fact that NUP is very intolerant. And he was citing his legal suit with which he accused the Bizonto Comedy Group with hurling threats at those who hold divergent opinions from those of NUP. Yes. As well. But whilst we see even the NUP supporters, you know, not agreeing to, you know, somebody who has a different opinion except theirs, but we also see it also happen in the ruling party, you know, camp, especially on social media. I've seen multiple tweets, especially on the Twitter account of Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, whereby when you come on and, you know, you're saying something totally different from the ruling party and, you know, going against them in any way, they'll definitely come for you. So I think it's actually going both ways. It's not just only on NUP, but yeah.
I would genuinely like to understand why our political leaders just cannot have a mutual ground. Because if you're talking about wanting what is best for this country, then division is not going to help it, whether it is subsections in politics or religion or culture. It is not going to help this country. What we need, what can best help us is appreciate each other's differences. But again, when ego comes to play, nobody wants to listen. I mean, when the elephants fight, it's the ground that suffers. Yes, absolutely. And we're not going to go anywhere if we keep on just talking about this person is better than the other, as opposed to saying that there's a problem in the country. Yes. How do we work best together to support it? I like Mr. Norbert Mao's approach to it, because he's a mobilizer, he's a unifying factor, and for him it's like, ladies and gentlemen, can we stop fighting?
You see, when you talk about Norbert Mao, back in the day, because we saw multiple, you know, DP members of parliament, or you know, who were standing for elections in 2021, changing camps from DP to changing to NUP, and it did not rub off well on the side of Mao, because he talked about that the group that left Democratic Party to join NUP is the most ungrateful lot ever. And you know, he talked about how he nurtured them. I mean, we saw Betty Namboze, you know, cross to NUP. We saw even back then Jose Chameleon, who is now, I don't know, in the NRM camp, you know, moving to NUP.
We don't know where Jose Chameleon is now. We don't know who he's for, but we hope that he is for all of us.
Yes. So Norbert Mao talks about, I nurtured these people, but this is how they pay me back. And you know, when they ask him whether he would ever sit on a round table and discuss with the party he feels, you know, the NUP party, because he feels so much outrage towards them. And he said, I'm willing to meet NUP leaders, including Honorable Chagulanyi, but they don't want to talk. They want to destroy Mao. Do you see what NUP supporters say on Twitter?
Yes, well, he was recently in Ethiopia, that is Mr. Norbert Mao, and he took to his Twitter to actually say, after the meeting on inter-party dialogue convened at the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and EU in Adam, Ethiopia, I return convinced of the central role that at Uganda IPOD has to play in detoxifying, keyword being detoxifying our politics. I hereby proclaim myself an international goodwill ambassador, I beg your pardon, goodwill ambassador for inter-party dialogue. Yes.
And also, I was actually, you know, seeing where Norbert Mao back in the day. Now, besides only talking about NUP being intolerant, he has also talked about the NRM party being intolerant. And he said that this is the most intolerant party. So now we don't know which is intolerant, which one is not. Because he said that things on the horizon should make Ugandans worried. We have an old president, unemployment, corruption, and other challenges. I believe change in Uganda will come through dialogue, not elections. And someone responded and said, if NRM was so intolerant, people like Tinka Simir and Sechikubo wouldn't still be in the party. Look at how you have treated Namboze and Lukwago in your own DP camp. And yes, we see Honorable Betty Namboze as well as Lukwago back in the day, you know, talked about how they were treated badly in the DP camp.
And we supported.
Yes, and we saw Lukwago, you know, cross over to the FDC party, and Betty Namboze cross over to NUP.
Yes.
So maybe there's probably intolerance in every other camp in one way or another, because we're seeing all of them, this one attacking this one attacking the other. So yes, it's all over the place.
You know what is funny is that, you know the saying, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house.
Yes.
And we have seen inter-party wrangles within the FDC, we have seen it in the DP, we have seen it in NRM, we have seen it in NUP. So I think all our politicians, whether opposition or ruling party, have to first clean house before they start, you know, throwing stones. Clean your house, put your house in order.
Because I mean, if it were true that in the DP camp all is rosy and rainbows, then we wouldn't see, you know, some section, you know, defecting to the NUP party and others going to the FDC party. Yes. Maybe at the moment, the only, well, let me not talk about it. I was going to talk about Mugisha Muntu. I feel like he's the one person who is tolerant when it comes to, barely will you see him attacking somebody. That he's always rational and always factual when he's, you know, talking about the other party or the other president or the other leaders at the end of the day. Yes. No sentiments, no emotions whatsoever. And that's the problem when it comes to the parties that, you know, are always at loggerheads. They always put a lot of emotion and sentiments into their arguments. Well, I mean, that is why we see Frank Gashumba's, you know, history being brought back, pictures from back in the day being brought back, for the fact that people are actually not tackling the issue or what they should be talking about. They're just digging up all the others, and then we are seeing him, his daughter being brought into the picture, and this has nothing to do with politics at all. Yeah.
Dragging his past, dragging his child into this conversation, just dragging him as an individual. I think this is just going on to just be a lot more personal, as opposed to it being, you know, being about positive criticism. Well, someone who we haven't seen on the, you know, political scene in quite a long time, and was not actively, you know, in was not actively in, you know, getting himself, I don't want to use the word getting himself in trouble, but not actively or aggressively taking to the streets, is former FDC president, that is Dr. Kizza Besigye. And he was arrested last week on Thursday. And he was actually, the police say it was a preventative measure, preventative arrest, because he was met with a heavy armed restriction that ended in preventative arrest after he tried to protest rising fuel and commodity prices. Yes.
I think it's a good, I mean, we have seen him back in the day, you know, do the walk to work, you know, kickstart the walk to work demonstrations, which was a good cause for Ugandans back in the day because of the fuel prices being high. But then for the only problem I think I have with this is the fact that most people actually are talking about, okay, if you're saying, our leaders, if you're saying you want democracy, if you're saying you're FDC, you are DP, you want democracy. Yes. You have been president of FDC, you have been president of DP for, I mean, since time immemorial. You're not letting someone else take over. And now I think there's some time back when the FDC camp was attacking Bobi Wine as well.
Yes.
You know, talking about, I mean, Dr. Kizza Besigye is the only rightful or authentic opposition party president or the opposition leader. And yes, how about they actually let it play out like on a leveled ground? I mean, if I am His Excellency Bobi Wine has the right to stand, has the right to be, you know, standing on the ticket of NUP as well as, you know, vying for presidency. It doesn't have to be somebody who has, you know, fought for the freedoms and then, you know, has been in opposition for quite some time to be the only one that's fronted as a candidate.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes I think it's the founding fathers of these political parties who people trust know what they're doing and trust will lead them in the right direction. So it's kind of, I understand, I see where they come from, and we see it across all political parties. We've seen it in FDC, we've seen it in DP, we have seen it in NUP, we are seeing it in NRM. We see all the founding fathers hold on to, you know, cling onto it because they feel like, I have not yet just done enough. But then again, like I say, don't throw stones if you live in a glass house. So if you cannot relinquish power from your party, how sure are we that you will relinquish it and give it away when you take on presidency?
Yes,
do you
and it also does create doubts within the citizens, within the civilians, because I mean, you're not leading by example. You're talking of the ruling party and the ruling president, that they have been in power for 35 years, yes, but you have also been the leader of your party for how long? About 30 years, and you do not want to relinquish power in any way. So it doesn't make sense at all.
Well, he will say that they support him, the people want him, the party members want him, but they are choosing him. Yes. But at the end of the day, I feel like there should be dialogue, especially on the side of opposition. Let them come to, you know, a round table and talk about their issues instead of you know, fighting each other on social media, fighting each other in media houses. This will not help in any way. If their common goal is change, if their common goal is to see the, you know, the country go forward, they definitely have to sit on a round table and talk about it. Absolutely. Well, joining us now in this conversation is Mr. Frank Kashumba, who is the center of discussion in this conversation today, and that is politics of intolerance. Good morning, Mr. Frank Kashumba. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm not feeling well.
Yes.
I was meant to be in your studios today. Unfortunately, flu is really battering me. So I'm still at home.
All right. Thank you so much, and we sincerely apologize for your flu, and we wish you a really quick recovery. However, thank you so much for still joining us today via Zoom.
Yeah, I wish I was in the studio. This subject topic is so important to Ugandans.
Yes.
Because the current breed of intolerance, the current breed of insults on the social media.
Yes.
If it continues, trust me, it is suffocating weak voices. You have to have a thick skin like mine to fire back.
Yes. But Mr. Kashumba, yes, I would like to ask you first, what do you understand by the politics of intolerance and non-scrutiny? Today you are the center of conversation on the Twitter jabs, and that is after you have been trending on social media for almost 2 weeks now because you made certain allegations that did not go well with supporters of the National Unity Platform. What are your comments on that, sir?
Actually, ma'am, let me tell you how it started. Because I saw your tagline down saying that Kashumba fighting online. Actually, I'm retaliating. I'm firing back. I did not start this. They started it.
All right.
This is how it started. I think 3 weeks back, Mohoz held a birthday party in Lugogo where I was invited.
Yes.
After attending the birthday party, a media house invited me, and they did ask me what exactly transpired at the birthday party. And I told them, to me, it was not a birthday party. It was a presidential bid. I used a Luganda word saying that it was a symbol day. That's how these insults started from. If I had said that Muhoz is not competent to lead this country, Kashumba would be a hero to these new hooligans on the social media.
Oh, wow.
You get it?
Yes.
So, if I had said that Muhoz does not qualify to be a president of Uganda, my God, I'll be darling, they would be serving me breakfast now. So, we've reached an extent that the moment I disagree with you politically, we become enemies. And that's not the politics I subscribe to. The politics I subscribe to, much as we may disagree on our political ideology, we're brothers and sisters.
Yes. Well, Mr. Kashumba...
So that's how it started, and...
yes, continue, please.
As Frank Kashumba, they have abused my mother an old woman living in they have insulted my daughter, my Simuka Uganda. My office, sorry, my phones are ringing 24 hours.
Yes.
Just insults, the words that you can never even dare to think about. So if they can be intolerant in such a manner, what happens to them if they took over the presidency of Uganda, if they took over governance?
Yes.
They'll be creating a ban in Uganda. And for you ladies, it's even worse, because I met a senior journalist attached to a media house, and she told me, Frank, she confessed to me that they no longer post what they feel is right because they fear to be insulted or to be abused. You get it?
Yes.
But as me, let me tell you, I have a thick skin. I cannot lower myself by insulting them. No. The more they insult me, the more I bring in facts. No one is responding to what I'm raising.
Yes.
No one. They're responding by insulting me.
Well, Mr. Gashumba, Mr. Gashumba, to some people feel like your comments about Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi and the NUP camp are rather a lot more personal as opposed to positive criticism or allowing an atmosphere for political tolerance. What are your comments on that? Because it's said that you made some really strong allegations by saying that the NUP is funded by NRM. You also went on to make comments to say that His Excellency also donated an armored car to him. You also went on to say that you have seen Mrs. Babi Kyagulanyi at State House a couple of times. So some people feel your allegations, you are making allegations, and that your comments are rather personal and not in a bid to actually help an atmosphere where we can all come together and respect our differences. What are your comments on that, sir?
First of all, it's not a crime to go to State House. It's not a crime. The only difference between them and we, for us to go to State House during the day, for them they go to State House at night. It's not an allegation, it's a fact, and I'm ready to prove it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes, actually, I have a lot. The more they provoke me, the more information I dig in. She has been to State House, not once, not twice. Kyagulanyi has been to Genocidal's home, not once, not twice. And they came out to say they don't work for government. I can authoritatively state and tell Kyagulanyi he's a state-sponsored project.
Do you have evidence for this, sir?
It's very simple. I believe were you in Israel when Jesus was crucified? But why do you believe in Jesus? Were you there?
Because these comments that you make, Mr. Kyagulanyi, could actually instigate violence. That is why I ask for evidence. And that is why people want you to have to back your accusations.
And give it to Kyagulanyi. Let Kyagulanyi bring out facts that what Gashumba is saying.
All right. Unfortunately, we have some network interference, but this conversation will continue. I'm joined in studio with Aggie Uwase, and she's been seated by my side just awing and awing.
You see, what Frank Gashumba has talked about, that that was the final remark that he was making, let Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi come on and deny these allegations. But for me, I would feel like Frank Gashumba, being the man who has talked about it, he needs to first bring evidence on table, and then that's when Robert Kyagulanyi can come to either deny or, affirm that yes, I was there.
Yes,
that's what I think it should be.
Well, our constitution does say that you're innocent until proved guilty, and I believe this is going as a situation that should be controlled, and we need to see you know, the evidence of these allegations, because strong accusations have been made. To have to say that a party, a political party that a lot of people wholeheartedly support and feel is going to bring change for them, their community and the country as a whole, is being what it is not. I think those are very strong accusations, and I believe Mr. Frank Kashumba should show the evidence, and he states that he has the evidence, and he has also challenged Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi to come and disprove him.
Let's just wait for that evidence. You see, the other problem when it comes to this is the fact that definitely members of the NUP camp, I mean, Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi's supporters, I mean, there's some kind of doubt that starts being created in your mind. You're like, maybe it's true or maybe not. And what if it's not true at all?
Yes.
That's detrimental to not only the party, but to his persona as a human being, especially if you just make, you know, allegations. But well, since Frank Kashumba talks about he has the evidence, then maybe let's wait for that.
Exactly.
And then we shall make, you know, conclusions when the evidence is out there.
But one thing that has stood out to me in his comments, he did say that there is no crime with going to State House, and also with his tweets, he hasn't come out to directly attack, that is Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, or however he's having a back and forth with a lot of National Unity Platform supporters.
He talks about there is no crime with going to State House. The only difference is some of them go there during the day,
allegedly,
and others go there at night.
Allegedly.
Now, who are those that go there at night is what we are trying to
Well,
ascertain.
we have Mr. Frank Kashumba back online to finish his submissions. Good morning, Mr. Kashumba. Yes, we're still experiencing some technical difficulties. However, we'll be having him coming back in just a minute. Yes, Aggie, you were saying something.
Yes, I was talking about like, you know, the allegations definitely do create some kind of doubt into NUP supporters' minds. And also, I mean, just like you said, everyone is innocent until they're proven guilty.
Yes.
And what proves them guilty is the evidence. The only picture that we see, you know, where that was Motive Kasaga, who says Frank Kashumba, I have a picture of His Excellency Bobby Wine and Babi Kyagulanyi in State House. And the picture they showed is where Frank Kashumba had visited Robert Kyagulanyi as well as the wife at their home in Magere. So we do not have any other pictures circulating on social media. So those allegations need to be backed at the end of the day.
All right. Well, we have also had Mr. Frank Kashumba today on the Twitter jabs. He said something, and then I think that this should actually at least give him some leniency, because like I said, he has not come out to directly attack, Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi. And he said this on his Twitter. He said, "You showed courage, bravery, heroism, and awakened Ugandans across all walks of life, including those in remote backwaters." And he went on to tag at His Excellency Bobby Wine, which is actually definitely a fact, because we did see a lot of youth come up to, realize that they deserve better, learn to, stand up straight and speak up for themselves. He has definitely been a force to reckon with, and Mr. Frank Kashumba definitely sees that. However, he also went on to say, just because we have different political views does not mean he's an enemy. At the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters. Well, that is all we had for you on this segment of the Twitter Jabs. However, we'll be following this conversation very closely, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that Mr. Frank Kashumba comes here into studios, that we can have, or put an end to it. Yes, to all the speculations, to all the accusations, and give this, situation a lot more context. Well, connect with us across all social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you ever miss an episode, or if you're just catching this right now, you can rewatch it on our YouTube channel, and that's at CTV Uganda. This is Sunrise at